Hey, blessings, and thank you for tuning in to our YouTube channel. We ask that you subscribe, like, and hit on the notification buttons to see more videos like this. To set it off, Live Talk, we are live. And welcome to Live Talk. I am your host, Arthur Jeremiah, alongside my co-host, Minister Samuel.
Welcome back again to Live Talk.
Yes, sir. And this is a show that I would love for my audience and those that are out there to definitely chime in and participate in. We just came off a program, about 11 o'clock last night?
Yeah.
And we back at it. But it's a beautiful thing. You know, it's always good to be in front of you all and just to share information, and also for you all to tune in and chime in and be able to dialogue with us as well. But we're going to just give you a rundown of the show today. First, like always, we have a word of the day from the minister. Right after that, we go to a short commercial break, and then we come back. The main topic of the day we're going to talk about is how does the laws in Florida affect our community? You know, there was a lot of laws passed in Florida. We may just touch on a few of them. But we want to know, how does it affect you? How does it affect our community? You know, and some things that we may be able to do, you know, locally, that is, because we always try to talk about local things that we can do. But that'll be that main topic. Right after that, we'll go to another commercial break, and we'll come back with the world news of the day, just talking about what happened as far as with the government default on their loans, and we'll just kind of get a little bit into that. And right after that, we'll go into the author, which normally I would give a quote of the day or a reading of the day, and then we'll conclude from there. So with no further ado, Minister, what's the word of the day?
All right. Based on the topic, our word of today is conscious.
All right.
And I know conscious has a synonym. So this is the CONSCIOUS, conscious. And it means having mental faculties that are not dulled by sleep, faintness, or stupor, being awake and alert. Conscious is perceiving and apprehending. Being conscious is noticing that something exists or is happening and realizing that it is important. Conscious is being awake and able to understand what is happening around you and being able to think. And I picked it because specifically about these laws that just got passed here in Florida, we need to be conscious of what's going on around us.
Yes, indeed, sir. Yes, that's a powerful word, because that's a word that we use when it comes to us as a people becoming conscious of a lot of things that are going on around us, the subliminal messaging and etc. And nowadays, though, there's a new term that we're going to talk about, and that's going to be shared that somewhat resembles that, but it takes on also another meaning. And we want to dig a little bit into that as we go more into our show today. But we're going to go into a quick commercial break, and we're going to be right back, and we're going to dig a little deeper into that information. We'll be right back. Hey, shalom and blessings, everyone. Arthur Jeremiah here. I am the author of The Spiritual Significance of a Name, Define Your Purpose. And I want to share something with you today. It's very important. As we go throughout life, we understand certain things to be challenging for us, right? But life can be a beautiful experience when we discover our purpose. Because then, and only then, do we discover that we have a true reason to live. Won't you go to the NOYstore.com and pick up a copy of my book today, The Spiritual Significance of a Name. That's the NOYstore.com. And thank me later. Until next time, peace and prosperity. All right, welcome back to Live Talk, and by all means, where's that book?
Yes, it is up front. Yep.
You want to make sure that you pick up a copy of The Spiritual Significance of a Name. It will really put you on a journey to defining your true purpose, because we have to always remember that we're spiritual beings, and being a spiritual being, you know, there's two sides of this spectrum that we can be on. We can be on the heavenly side, or we can be on the mundane or the earthly side. and I would rather be on the spiritual side because the scripture says spiritual is life and carnality equals death. So being spiritually inclined is very important to your salvation. So having the spiritual significance of a name will really put you on that journey to defining your true purpose. It's one of those books that'll put you on that journey. You can order that book and we'll have it shipped out to you. All right, my brother. So today, our main topic, this is a part that, I really want us to all be able to participate in because this matters to us nationally, but when something touch home, when you're talking about something that touch home, like the laws that are passed in Florida, it deals not only with you as an individual, it deals with you as a family, if you have children, because a lot of these laws pertain to our children. A lot of the things that are happening in the society also, affect our children. And we want to make sure that we're mindful of some of these things, and we want to be able to educate our children, but we want to know what it is ourselves, because if you don't know what it is, how can you better inform your children? Can you become better informed of what's going on around you? And it's very important that we come to an understanding of what's happening all around the country, but definitely at home. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, brother. We're going to talk about home and what's happening. Now, the NAACP, they put out an announcement, and I'm just going to kind of go through that, and we're going to break that down. The NAACP, the board of directors, issued a formal travel advisory for the state of Florida. The travel advisory comes in direct response to Governor Ron DeSantis' aggressive attempts to erase Black history and to restrict diversity, equality, and inclusion programs in Florida schools. The formal travel notice states Florida is openly hostile towards African Americans, people of color, and LGBTQ plus individuals. Before traveling to Florida, please understand that the state of Florida devalues and marginalizes the contributions of and the challenges faced by African Americans and other communities of color. And this is a quote from the president. It said, "Let me be clear, failing to teach an accurate representation of the horrors and inequalities that Black Americans have faced and continue to face is a disservice to students," said NAACP President and CEO Derek Johnson. Under the leadership of Governor DeSantis, the state of Florida has become hostile to Black Americans in a direct conflict with the democratic ideas that our union was founded upon. He should know that democracy, will prevail because its defenders are prepared to stand up and fight. We're not backing down, and we encourage our allies to join us in the battle for the soul of our nation. Now, I want to break that down, the soul of our nation. And I'm going to stop right there, brother. There's two things that I would like to kind of understand in here. I know the soul of our nation is one of them. But then just to reflect back on devaluing, no, not that one. Let's deal with soul of our nation. I'll get to the other one here shortly. But this was a bold and broad statement, for the nation of people, so-called colored people. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to the soul of our nation, because he identified that he said, we're not backing down, and we encourage our allies to join us in a battle for the soul of our nation. What's the soul of our nation? Because when we talk about the soul, we talk about something that's natural and innate, right?
What does he mean by that?
Yeah, and I thought initially when I read this, it was a distinction between, him saying, we want to retain the soul of our nation, opposed to we're trying to fight for the soul of our nation. We understand that when we talk about the soul, like I mentioned, is a natural inhabitant of us. That's what, and I'm talking individually, that is. And I get it as far as a nation, saying that a nation has a soul. That means what did that nation originate from, in so many words. And when we talk about that, we talk about going back. We really talk about human lives, right? We talk about a coach. This is me. This is my perspective, and I'm just kind of speaking on this here. And like I said, today, listening audience, I want you to be a part of this as well. But when it comes to thinking about the soul of our nation, I think about the different immigrants that have come in and may have prospered in this country. I think about, although we was brought over here as a people, and the challenges that we had to go through to get some recognition as far as a people, and we're still struggling with that even today. What bothers me is when you're going through a challenge such as you went through coming through slavery, and you have set forth certain precedents and laws from your plights, and then another group come and use that as a plight to push their agenda. And so when we talk about the soul of our nation, we have to be real about what's natural in the state of us being, a people, whether it's, Black America, Hispanic American, whatever it is, we have different cultures and there's a value to that culture, but this whole country is supposed to value that in a way of the culture side of it, not when it comes to individuals' ideologies and the risings of different groups, but we look at it from a cultural standpoint and how we and this just me speaking, and how we identify the soul of the soul of this nation, and we want to make sure that we recognize the humane side of that in order for us all to be one and grow and learn from one another. But I look at that as the soul of this nation when it comes to when you make certain comments like that.
Well, you for me, you'd have to define their perspective on the soul of the nation and what are they actually, because that's a broad term and it can be misinterpreted and you can have people going out for the wrong reason or supporting you. Like even now, I think the NAACP has did great work over the years, but when they put this out, a couple of things for me come to mind. When you say a travel advisory, for me the first thing it's almost like a warning, is what I hear.
Yeah.
And I believe in the warning and being caution. But you put the travel advisory against, you say for Florida, then you say for people specifically of color traveling to Florida. To me, it's as if the first thing I get from that is be afraid. Mm-hmm. Don't go there because of this, that, or the other. Yet part of what I see, and I certainly don't agree with a lot of the things that's happening here in Florida, but our word of the day is we have to be conscious. We have to be fully awake of it. And then how does it relate to us? Because the way I see that is, yes, you can point the finger and I know they like to pick jokes at Florida, especially with our governor and his character.
Right.
But I look at it this way. Let's go back to some of the original inception of the NAACP when the sheriff, the mayor, the governor were Klan members. And they were this was a direct threat, not just to our livelihood, but to our physical lives. And it wasn't just in Florida, it was across the country. Okay, so the NAACP, they fought against that. But now when we fast forward, and we need to be conscious that when someone makes a statement against you, I would prefer to know the Klansmen. See, I like it nowadays. They done took their hoods off.
Yeah.
So DeSantis, you done took your hood off. You telling me who you are. I'm conscious and I'm aware of that. The travel advisory might make some people unconscious and put you back to sleep because you think you're in a state just because they don't have their hood off, that they don't have them same feelings. See, I prefer to know who my enemy is, and then I'm conscious and I can defend myself. But if you're not conscious if you go to sleep and think, oh, it's okay. No, you need to look at what's going on around you. Definitely here in Florida, but don't go to sleep and think that you're in another state or you're in another area and it's different. And I would just like to say, there's a lot of us who are awake and are conscious here in Florida, irregardless of the lunacy that's going on around us. And we fully making a difference here. There are safe places for us here, but there are unsafe places here, just like there anywhere else in the country. This fella's just passing laws that can affect us, and we do need to be conscious of those laws.
Now, I will say this here, because when we look at the majority, you know, they try to divide us in, you know, different parties and stuff like that. And every party has its agenda and how it wants to operate and et cetera, right? And I remember just being an independent. Well, I remember being a Democrat, and then I remember being an independent. And on paper right now, I'm a Republican. But I remember being a Democrat. I remember some of the you know, the ideas of the Democrats, which led me to say, you know, I just need to be an independent. But what I understood when I became an independent, I couldn't vote in some of those main elections. So I said, no, I have to be in there somewhere. So the concept behind, you know, even when we're still talking about the soul of this nation, the concept behind the theory of going into being a Republican was the notion that we're all conservatives at heart. Now, I do understand that there's a traditional side of the American conservative that has something to do with slavery, and slavery as being at the focal point of that. But that don't take away the fact that we're conservatives, and there are conservative values that align with the values that was founded by, you know, from Abraham, you know, all from Abraham to Isaac. You know, when we talk about the scriptures, we don't try to get so deep into that, but we have to have a moral stance. This nation say, in God we trust, right? So so somewhere God has supposed to be in the midst of that. But with the values, when you talk about conservative values, some of the things, like some of the traditions, like slavery, for instance, don't align. So we have to extract those things that don't align with true conservative values, but we still have to be conservative as a nation.